The newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. NTF-ELCAC will receive 17 billion pesos for 2022. That's after the Congress agreed on a compromise budget for the controversial task force. This is the middle ground between the 4 billion pesos passed by the Senate and the 28 billion pesos proposed by the House of Representatives for the task force. House Appropriations Committee Chairman Eric Yap said that this will be enough for the NTF-ELCAC since this is closer to its budget of 19 billion pesos this year. Meanwhile, over in Pasay City, 2 suspects were nabbed for selling pangolins, which are considered critically endangered. Arian Kalumbiran with a story.
These pangolins were weak and trapped in a fishnet when they were rescued by the Environment Department in a seafood market in Pasay City. Authorities found the pangolins during a buy-bust operation. The agency says the animals were about to be brought to a Chinese restaurant beside the seafood market where they are to be sold for around 25 to 30,000 pesos each. Authorities explain the pangolins were illegally caught by locals in Palawan and were then shipped to their accomplices in Metro Manila. The DENR says the surge in pangolin trafficking in the country is concerning as their population is starting to dwindle in Palawan.
Masyadong in demand yung kanyang scale, yung blood, yung meat niya, ginagamit din sa mga Chinese restaurants, no? Yung traditional medicine din na ginagamit, ginagawang powder na sinasabi nila na ito ay nakagagamot. So rampant ang poaching.
During the operation, authorities were able to arrest Rowena Pindot and Joel Quino, who received the buy-bust money worth 75,000 pesos. But the suspects claim they were only hired to bring the pangolins to the Chinese restaurant.
Lately lang po talaga, sinabay lang po talaga yan. Ito po kasi yung transaction namin, parang pinick up lang po yan dyan sa Pasay po.
The suspects vowed to identify the suppliers of the pangolins, but this came too little too late as the DENR has already filed charges against them for violating the Wildlife Protection Act.
Critically endangered ang category nito. So once you nahuli ka nito, 6 years, no? Kada isa ang bubunuin mo na penalty na pagkakulong.
The pangolins will temporarily stay at the DENR's office where they will be nursed back to health, after which they will be brought back to Palawan for their release. Arian Kalumbiran, We Are One News.
Now, as Typhoon Odette unleashed its wrath over parts of the country, senatorial aspirant Gibo Chidoro tells other candidates to coordinate with the Social Welfare Department on relief operations. In an interview with the chiefs, Teodoro said that coordinating with the DSWD is the best way to help Typhoon Odette victims. This comes after candidates took to social media to pledge help and unify efforts to assist the victims of Typhoon Odette.
If they could coordinate all efforts through the DSWD so that an efficient and convergent response can truly help our people in areas where it is most needed. And the DSWD is in a position to direct these efforts.
Not yet done with your Christmas shopping? Well, you might want to consider buying from local shoemakers in Marikina, where you'll get high-quality shoes and help the sector bounce back from the pandemic. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez gives us a front seat to the story.
Still looking for the perfect gifts for your loved ones this Christmas? Why don't you try these quality and budget-friendly footwear in Marikina City? More than a year after being shut down due to the pandemic, the shoe capital has finally reopened its annual Christmas shoe bazaar to the public. Local shoemakers like Noel Evangelista say they can finally breathe.
Dahil nga po nagkaroon ng pandemic, so hindi po siya naging necessity ng mga tao. Talagang malaking bagay po sa mga magsasapatos.
The Sea Point store is among 40 manufacturers who are in this year's bazaar. Although they've suffered because of the lockdown, the local manufacturers haven't raised their prices. This topsider, for example, ranges from 900 to 1,000 pesos, while these driver shoes can be yours for only 650 pesos. You can also grab a pair of handmade leather shoes for less than 2,500 pesos, depending on the design. The bazaar also showcases wallets ranging from 150 to 300 pesos, coin purses for 20 pesos each, and women's bag like this one for 799 pesos, or this travel bag for only 450 pesos. The LGU said COVID-19 restrictions have affected the livelihood of more than 6,000 shoemakers.
Yung mga gawaan naman na nasa tinatawag nating backyard, sila yung talagang labis na naapektuhan dahil hindi na nakasabay dun sa mga malalaki.
The city government is encouraging the public to support the Marikina shoemakers, whose craftsmanship they say are at par with those of foreign brands.
Sana po tangkilikin po natin parati ang mga lokal na produkto na ginagawa po sa atin.
Pag tinangkilik ko siyempre ang gawang lokal, lalo na dito sa Marikina, matutulungan nyo ang mga walang trabaho.
The bazaar is located at the Marikina Freedom Park. It will run until January 15 next year. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, We Are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. TNT Tropang Giga gets its first win in the 2021 PBA Governors Cup after Jason Castro led the team against the Alaska Aces on the second half. The defending champions team clinched their first win on Friday against the Aces. Scoreless in the first half of the game, Castro stepped up, scoring a team-high 20 points in the latter half, leading TNT to win against Alaska 81-77. Meanwhile, Barangay Ginebra crushed Northport, the Batang pair, with a whopping 26-point lead. Northport struggled to catch up to Ginebra as Justin Brownlee led the team, scoring 28 points. That's despite Northport's Robert Bolick scoring higher at 32 points, which is also his career high. However, Ginebra still proved to be too much for Northport and ended the match at 108-82. Terra Firma Jeep is set to duke it out with the Inlex Road Warriors on the hard court at 3 p.m. today, while at 5 p.m. San Miguel Piermen will face the Blackwater Bossings. Both games will be held at the Smart Araneta Coliseum. And the PBA 3-on-3 is moving to a bigger stage as they welcome live fans. The games will be held at the Smart Araneta Coliseum to welcome live audiences from the previously closed-door games at the Inara Sports Arena. This as the 13 pioneering teams battle for half-court supremacy with the sixth leg next week. Meanwhile, the first conference grand finals is set on December 29. Now, millions of fans across the world bear witness to the continued evolution of K-pop, even in the midst of COVID-19. Bloomberg's So-hee Kim reports on how award ceremonies like Mnet, Asian Music Awards, are using technology to draw fans both online and offline. Let's watch this.
Overall, I think K-pop has been continuously growing.
올해는 어떻게 보면 마마가 그동안 아시아 시상식에서 월드 넘버원 K-팝 뮤직 어워즈로 새롭게 도약하는 원년으로 생각하고 있습니다.
MAMA, or Mnet Asian Music Awards, first launched at South Korea's music awards ceremony in the country in 1995, but the event has grown with the rise of K-pop, taking place across Asia from Hong Kong to Japan.
This is one of the biggest global K-pop award ceremony that takes its places every year, marked with performances by the year's hottest celebrities.
In order to meet strict government COVID protocols, the event was held in front of a live audience of less than 500, with all fans having to bring their negative PCR test results. It was also streamed live to global fans.
I miss their cheers. 맞아요. 함성 소리. 요즘에는 그래도 좀 보는데 소리를 못 지르니까 그게 제일 그리워요. 그 무대 위에서 팬분들한테 얻는 에너지가 그립습니다.
It's not just K-pop. Entertainment venues like theaters and concert halls were shut during the months-long lockdown in 2020, and artists had to find new ways to interact with fans through virtual concerts.
It was a huge part of our journey, I guess. COVID itself is a really tough situation for everyone, I feel like, all around the world. But for us, as a K-pop artist, we have to perform in front of our fans, but that's not allowed. So it was a tough year for us.
For this year's award ceremony, the producers used augmented reality and extended reality technology on stage to create a more immersive experience for those watching online. The event demonstrates K-pop's soft power along with other cultural exports, dramas, and movies including Parasite, and recent Netflix hits like Squid Game.
Not just K-pop, but Korean dramas. You used to have gatekeepers, which were the major media companies, and the power of fans and social media got rid of all the gatekeepers. So K-pop is really indicative, I think, of the world that we live in now, and also the potential for all other types of content going forward.
According to Dealogic data, funds raised by entertainment listings in Seoul this year rose to record high of $3.8 billion. And Twitter revealed K-pop as a subject matter set a new record with 7.5 billion tweets from July 2020 to June 2021. CJ Group has been investing in the country's pop culture for more than 2 decades, and it plans to spend more than $4 billion on content production over the next 5 years.
We've spent the last 20 years kind of being missionaries, mercenaries for Korean content, constantly, putting Korean content out to the world. It's actually Korean entertainment that has really supercharged the appetite for these, beauty products and food around the world. Live that lifestyle. It's all about lifestyle for us. There's culture and there's the things that make you happy.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later again at 12 noon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now, www.signalplay.com, and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.